Recent Airbnb earnings reports show a massive drop in their profits. In fact, stocks are down up to 20% from just a year ago. New local laws and regulations, along with the rising cost of doing business, is significantly slowing the short-term rental business. In this video, I will explain what is causing this slowdown and its significant impact on the local housing market. Since 2007, Airbnb rose to fame very rapidly, and originally it was a cheaper alternative to hotels and a great way to earn extra income by renting out one's rooms or a house for short periods of time. During the COVID times especially, a lot of people who travel locally took advantage of the local rental units, local short-term rentals, and enjoyed their stays and drove the business sky high. But since the last few years, there seems to be troubles brewing, not because of the tough business, because also of competition. How do I know this? Well, I own an Airbnb myself, and over the last 3 or 4 years, I've seen the ups and downs in the way the consumers are behaving and attitude towards the payment and the hosting fees and the hosting services. Things have definitely slowed down, and there seems to be an oversaturation of Airbnb, especially in the popular tourist markets. There are so many Airbnbs now that the owners are competing themselves, so they're getting lower prices and the cost of doing business is increasing. So the profits are down not only for Airbnb, but they're down for your typical Airbnb owner and a business owner. Take Palm Springs, for example. They have a lot of restrictions and oversaturations of Airbnbs.
By the way, along an enclave of the Oscar-worthy Palm Springs could be a place to get a deal on a property as long as you decide to live there full time. LA Times reporting since the city put a cap on Airbnb rentals, home prices are now in free fall. A 2022 ordinance requires no more than 20% of homes in any neighborhood can be Airbnbs. Some high-demand neighborhoods like Racket Club Estates are at more than 40% for Airbnbs.
I live in the city of Disneyland, Anaheim, and in 2012 and 2013 and 2016, they had a lot of restrictions on Airbnb permits, and they took away a lot of permits from the owners. So what is causing this slowdown in the short-term rental market, and what are the impacts on the housing? Let's take a look at it. First and foremost, in the last 3, 4, 5 years, or even the last 7, 8 years, home prices has gone up significantly. So when an owner buys a rental, he or she is paying a high price and the mortgage rates are expensive. So the cost of doing business just to pay the mortgage is very high. So the owner of the Airbnb has to charge higher rates so they can at least break even to pay not only just the mortgage, but other expenses that comes along with doing the short-term rental business. The other issue is that the hosting fees have gone higher and higher. Due to the inflation, everything has gone up and the hosting fees have gone up. The cleaning fees that the renter has to pay has gone up, and the fees that Airbnb charges the homeowners has gone up significantly. So what the owners do is throw these costs onto the consumer like you and me. As the prices go up, the short-term rental business has gone down, and it shows in their profits and in the stock market. When it comes to the cities giving these permits, they have a lot of new regulations, fire codes and earthquake codes and safety codes, and the cities want profit as well. So as more people apply for these permits, they are increasing the permits themselves. I myself have a rental, and when I first got the permit, it was a certain amount, and now I'm paying for the same permit almost $200 per year, and that costs me money, so I have to pass it on to the consumer like everybody else. The other major factor why Airbnb is in trouble, and not just Airbnb but VRBO and all other short-term rentals, is that the cost of doing business as an owner has increased significantly. There is always maintenance cost. So if I bought a house 4 or 5 years ago, I have to paint or change the carpets or change the faucets, do the landscaping. So the cost of doing everything has gone up significantly just to maintain the Airbnb. And as you know, the cities are very strict. The Airbnb company is very strict. They want to see the pictures and the safety and the regulations. So everything has gone up. So as the cost goes up, the hosting fees goes up and the rental fees goes up. And of course, property taxes has gone up, and the insurance cost has gone up sky high. So when all these costs go up, slowly but surely, they are passed on to the travelers, to the consumers like you and me. There are many owners of Airbnb that run their business on their own, and it has become very challenging. So it takes more time, more effort, more customer service to take care of your Airbnb. So it takes more time out of your daily routine, and that has affected their workability. The other thing is that for owners who have 1 or 2 or 3 Airbnbs and they use a management company, their cost of the management fees has gone up. A good management company will charge you 25% of your daily rentals, which is a big chunk. Pretty much all your profits are gone. So as the cost increases, the management fees are also increasing. The cost of running overall is increasing, and that hits you in the pocketbook. And the 20% slowdown in the stock market shows you what's going on. It is a dire situation for the Airbnb and a short-term rental business overall. 2 more factors that is affecting the Airbnb business. Number 1, everybody wanted to get into the business. So in the popular tourist areas, there is an oversaturation of Airbnbs, as I mentioned earlier. So there is stiff competition. But I think one of the biggest reasons the short-term rental market and overall tourism has slowed down is because people are broke. If you look at today, an average person, their credit cards are full. They are no longer traveling. In the COVID times, they went out for the weekend, drove an hour, 2 hours, and went to an Airbnb or a short-term rental. These days, they are tight. They're out of money. Things are very expensive to travel. So they've just plain cut back on traveling. And that is one of the significant impact on the short-term rental business and on the local housing economy. So on that note, if you want to know what's happening in your local market, if you're an absentee owner or a local owner and want to find out what's happening in the local market and or the Airbnb business, direct message me. I will refer you to agents who are aware of the Airbnb business in your area, who are up to date on the trends, and I can refer you to great agents in the area that you are in. So please fill out the short form. It's in the comment section. Now I want to take a look at some of the areas where there is a lot of saturation of Airbnbs, where their market has slowed down when it comes to short-term rental business, and how they have taken down the prices of the local home prices down. So let's look at some of those so we know what's happening and see the direct correlation between the Airbnb business and the local housing market in these areas, and of course some other areas as well. Let us look at the desert city of Palm Springs, Southern California. As you know, there was a lot of Airbnbs there, and the city has a lot of restrictions and actually shut down or have some regulations where the short term now have to be long term. Palm Springs has a significant impact on the Airbnb business. Let's look at what happened to the prices in the last 6-7 months this year, and one of the impact is due to the Airbnb business. If you look at the pricing, the median home price in Palm Springs, it's $617,500, which is down year over year almost 15%, which is significant downfall when we see nationally that homes are stabilizing or actually going up. And here you have a city, a major city, tourist city, celebrity city, where the median home sales price is down 15%, a significant impact. Let's look at Joshua Tree, another desert town 2 hours from Los Angeles. Joshua Tree has an oversaturation, and the business of Airbnb is really tanking. The number of short-term rentals in Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley grew 50% and 141% respectively from March 2020 to March 2024, according to AirBNB. This is a way big increase. Furthermore, Joshua Tree real estate slows down as sellers get off the Airbnb bandwagon. Let's look at the pricing in Joshua Tree. If you look at the median sales price, the sales price right now in Joshua Tree is $309,000 as of August 2024. If you look at the decrease year over year from August 2023 to 2024, the median sales price in Joshua Tree is down 28%, which is the biggest drop I've seen when I'm looking at these reports. Nationwide, as I mentioned earlier, on average, home prices are still going up 1 or 2 or 3% on average. So when you see a drop of 15% like Palm Springs and 27% Joshua Tree, the saturation of over 3,500 Airbnbs in Joshua Tree and Landers and Yucca Valley, this is affecting the housing market in a big way. It's a big impact. And I'm seeing prices drop, and I'm also seeing some of the investors grabbing these properties as prices have dropped 30% in certain areas of Joshua Tree. Let us look at the town of Celebration near Disney World, Florida. There's a lot of Airbnbs and there's a lot of vacancies and a slowdown in that market. Of course, travel is down significantly in Florida because of the disasters and a lot of things happening. A lot of people are actually moving out of Florida from the latest reports I've seen due to the crisis of the insurance. And the home prices are going down as it is in Florida and in towns where there's a lot of Airbnb. This is further affecting the prices. So if you look at celebrations, the median sales price right now is $540,000. And if you look at what happened, the median sales price was near $800,000 and now it's dropping close to $550,000. Let's look at one more city. Let's look at Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This is a small town, a tourist town, a lot of Airbnbs, but business has slowed down. In fact, Tennessee is taking a hit on the pricing. If you look at the median sales price right now of all the homes, condos, single family homes, and all of the residential, the median sales price is $459,000. Year over year, it has dropped 21%. I'm sure there's other factors affecting the slowdown, but I can assure you that in towns like these where there's a lot of Airbnbs, it has a major factor in the housing prices and the rental prices and what's happening to the sales. Number of home sales are down, home prices are down, and the activity is very slow. So we can see that as the Airbnb business has slowed down, people have stopped traveling as much as they used to. Short-term business is taking a hit. We don't know how long it's going to go on, maybe another year, 2 years. The effect will be stronger on the housing market when it comes to rental, when it comes to vacant properties sitting there for a few months or months and months, and homes not selling fast enough and thereby reducing the price. Despite the current challenges, short-term rentals can be a profitable business over time. The advantage is if you own one and even if you are barely breaking even, you are building equity in the long run, getting tax benefits, and if you have a beach condo or a nice house that you want in the future to move to, then your mortgage is being paid off, and when you retire, you can move into that unit that you have. So that's an advantage that you have. I myself would like to retire in Sedona, so maybe it's a good idea for me to buy a short-term rental in the city of Sedona, Arizona, rent it out, and when I retire, I will have a lot of equity in the property and then I can retire, remodel it, and stay in the property. So there are big advantages to Airbnb. I want to thank you for watching. Please watch this video that YouTube is recommending you specifically. And if you have any questions or need a referral for your Airbnb business or your local market, please direct message me. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I'm Mike Patel. Sell smart so you gain more.